Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. If you're looking for PTCGO codes, especially the new Cosmic Eclipse stuff, go ahead and check out the Potown store. You can get yourself a nice 5% discount on your orders using that OmniPoke code. For today's video, we are going to be looking at an updated build of GreenZard. I do think that the green-based decks have really been yearning for a card like Tag Call, because it really does help out consistency. It's far better than Cherish Ball, and has the added versatility of opening up the doors for some extra draw supporters if you have like otherwise a dead hand, or giving you extra healing opportunities, whereas previously we've seen things like GreenZard and Guardian play a combination of mixed herbs, great potions, scoop ups even at times. Now we get it in a nice neat 2-of slot in Mallow Lana. Definitely gets the job done for you, and that lets you, have spaces for other cards. So let's jump into the GreenZard archetype in a bit more detail now. Starting off with the stuff that stays the same, I guess. The 4 Volcanion, still a fantastic card, Flare Starter, allowing you to attach an energy, fire energy from deck to one of your Pokemon. If you've gone second, that's going to be 3 fires instead, and that's a huge deal for you, because of course it gets you towards that big ReshiZard attack or the big Braixen attack. Those are the kind of 2 guys that you normally lead out with. Lopuff is kind of left for later. But yeah, really, really powerful energy acceleration, sets us up, and is fantastic at doing so, especially because it's a single prize Pokemon. Therefore, getting knocked out only helps you by making Reset Stamp stronger, whereas if you just feed your opponent 2 Volcanions, it's not going to affect the overall prize trade, which is pretty sweet. We also have the High Heat Blast attack, which does 50 plus 60 more if there's 4 fire energy total in play. Can be pretty reasonable, again, just in certain spots where you've gone for early flare starters, or if you just happen to go from Welder into Welder. For whatever reason, High Heat Blast can give you a bit of tempo damage as well, which is definitely reasonable. From then on, we have 2 copies of the Reshiram and Charizard-GX that we are familiar with. Outrage being a very decent attack just for those 2 energy cards. Flare Strike doing 230. We do have Shrine in here to push for 240. I think it's important not only for Pikarom, but it's also important for opposing Lopuffs to one-shot those guys, so it stays in the list for that little bit of synergy there, and obviously being enough to deal with regular GXs for the most part. And then we have that Double Blaze GX attack. For 3 fire, you can do 200, which is obviously a very decent tempo, just because we can welder this out all in one go. Or if we do get to 6 energy cards, we can do 300, which is getting through tag teams, and at the same time goes through all effects on your opponent's active. Definitely important right now, because things like Keldeo are sort of creeping back into the meta with Arceus, Palkia, Dialga to some extent, and a few other awkward attackers that we can just get through as well. So yeah, pretty decent all in all. From there we have 2 new tag teams from the set, both as one-ofs. First of all, the other Charizard that we're playing is the Charizard Braixen-GX. Brilliant Flare does 180, and you get to search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. This is amazing for accumulating resources. Usually it's disruptive cards, like Reset Stamps, Power Plants, backup supporters and such for the following turns. This can be really awesome, and it's just so versatile. And when you're doing 180, it's very similar to the just regular Flare Strike. Once you've done the big Double Blaze, 230 and 180 are actually similar numbers, because they're still 2 short numbers for the most part against tag teams. So yeah, it's like decent pressure whilst accumulating these resources, which is a really big deal because it means you can sort of have optimal turns from then on, which is pretty sweet. We also do have the Crimson Flare Pillar GX attack, which does allow us to attach 5 basic energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way that you like. If you also have 1 extra energy attached, your opponent's active is now burned and confused. Now, I've seen people disregard this attack, but I think it's actually pretty decent. Just because, again, it's one of those situations where you're in a rough spot, you don't have much going for you. Maybe your first Charizard's gone down, you've not got to enough energies to do a brilliant flare. But what you can do is stamp the opponent to 2 cards, burn and confuse them, and then set up this Charizard Braixen, or maybe like a Lopuff on the bench, to be ready to take knockouts from then on. So I think it's more reasonable than a lot of people give it credit for, and also it's a nice reload against Pidgeotto control. I think that matchup is really bad for us, of course, but this is at least something that we can try and do, maybe to reload Volcanions or something like that. So yeah, something to bear in mind. It can be a nice reload after an Articuno style play, for example. And then we have the Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff-GX, super solid card. A lot of the times, GreenZard sort of struggles taking its last 3 prizes if you use your early Double Blaze for like the first tag team knockout. It's then trying to like set up 2 shots and stuff, but the Lopuff can change things just by having that big jumping balloon doing 60 and 60 more for each of your opponent's GX and EX in play, heavily punishing anyone still playing Pikarom, also punishing Mewtwo pretty hard. Even things like mirror matches and Guardians that get overzealous benching things to play around Reset Stamp, you punish them very, very heavily with a Lopuff, especially because this can come out of nowhere. You can just tag call for this card, put it down, Fire Crystal, Welder, suddenly Jumping Balloon wins you the game. So yeah, really, really sick card to have as a one-off in here, as a great option to Welder onto. We also have the Puffy Smashers GX attack. They're for 5 energy, very, very expensive, but you can do a 200 damage snipe, which is actually decent because we're still playing customs in here rather than great catchers. So if you have to sort of have that final push on the bench and you don't have enough Gust available, this can be a route to victory. And in very awkward situations, you can send the opponent to sleep just to buy yourself a turn. But try not to do that if you can help it, because GX attacks are quite vital in this deck. Like, Double Blaze is a super good GX attack, so usually that's where it goes. Onto the trainer cards. We're still playing 1 copy of Fiery Flint, combining it with the 1 Hearth, so we have good access to our fight energies early via things like Green's Exploration, which is very nice. We're then playing the 2 of Fire Crystal to sort of reload them. I'm pretty content just playing 2 copies, especially when you now have Crimson Flare Pillar GX as well to sort of fall back on. I don't really feel like we need to have like a full 3 count, especially because, again, Brilliant Flare like scouts the pieces that we need, so I don't feel like you need all 3 copies. I'm just playing 2 right now. Then we have a bunch of 3-ofs, 3 copies of Switch. I think it's very nice alongside the like relatively high count of Mallow Lana that I'm playing, so you can heal and then get back into the active and sort of undo the pressure that Dex has done against you for a turn, which can be very reasonable for sure. And just in general, like pivoting, everything has a high retreat cost except Lopuff, which is just a 1. But in general, pivoting between your Zards and such is going to require a bunch of Switch. We then have 3 Reset Stamp for disrupting our opponent's hand. We have 3 Tag Calls to scout all of our Tag Team Pokemon and also access Heal, as well as Cynthia Caitlin, which can be some like panic draw if we need it to be in the early turns, or is a phenomenal option late on by getting us back greens and welders, which is just an absolute dream. Whenever this deck is able to use a 5th green, you're like over the moon with it. So yeah, Tackle, super solid card at like every point in the game basically. We have 3 Bike for extra push potential alongside 4 Pokegears just to try and find our best supporters, namely like Greens and Welder in those opening turns, and then Cynthia Caitlin can sort of get us back into those as the game progresses. I'm still playing 4 customs just because we are already playing a Greens engine and we have Brilliant Flare available to us. We can accumulate these and be a bit more flexible than playing great catchers. Now you might want to add in an additional great catcher. I'm not against that at all, but find me the space is always going to be my response when people say I would play this card. Onto the stadium counts. We're playing this one-off Shrine, as I said. Good for Lopuff, good for Pikarom, and just some other more general things, even like things like Choo Choo and stuff. You can put them into range over a couple Shrine ticks, etc., which could be nice. 1 Giant Hearth, I like this for early game, just potential for getting into our fires. Sometimes it's better than the Flint, just based on your hand, really. And if you want to bounce the opposing stadium, or if you don't have enough good discards for the Fiery Flint to be live, sometimes Hearth is just a better option, so I like having either or. We have 1 Heat Factory for just allowing us to draw more cards, and contesting that Stadium War as well, so hopefully we can win that Stadium War with Power Plant eventually. So we are playing 6 stadiums, that's a lot. But Swell is a card, and we still need to put Power Plant down in a good amount of matchups and make that stick. So yeah, 6 is where we stay right now. You could definitely think about dropping 1 Power Plant if you want to add in a few cards that I'll mention later, but at the moment this is where we're at. Still the high Power Plant count. Even with Swell around, I still think it's like a pretty strong card in general. Onto the supporters, we all know how good Welder is for getting our attackers rolling. We know how great Green is. It gets even better now that we have Tag Call. How often would you turn 1 go for a play that was similar to a Giant Hearth plus Cherish Ball, or Flint Cherish Ball, or just like Cherish Ball Green? Those days are gone because now we can get Tag Call, and it's such a treat because we get to get our main attacker as well as like at least a backup supporter to have in our hand. So Oh, Tag Call, such a busted card, and it makes the best card in the deck even better. So yeah, really sweet, to be honest. Mallow Lana comes in as a 2-of, allowing us extra pivoting options. So we really don't need the mixed herbs in here anymore. And also healing that 120 and moving to the bench is really sweet against things like Malamar. Malamar obviously can try and do some shenanigans with their sort of tech Pokemon attackers. Try not to use this card for as long as you can. Try and just heal with this as much as you can, because also you can Brilliant Flare cards back into your hand to mitigate the discard that the Mallow Lana has to do. So quick tip for Malamar, just use this one the whole time, basically. And you basically completely undo a turn of pressure that some non-GX decks do against you, and it's absolutely disgusting when that happens. So yeah, Mallow Lana really is a dirty card, especially when you can reload it with Cynthia and Caitlin. That allows you to discard a card from hand, then you're able to get a Versus Seeker style effect, as well as a TV Reporter effect. So yeah, a decent all-round card in my book. From there, we just play 11 fires. I think it's plenty. Again, we have Crimson Flare Pillar now. If it's going to be much of a problem alongside our Fire Crystals, it should not become an issue. And it should give us plenty of outs alongside Hearth and Flint to see these a decent amount and get them rolling. So for some other cards that you could be considering, Lugia used to be in this list for sure. It was like somewhat of a help to Quagnag, but also that Lost Purge GX attack can cause problems to people, especially when you're combining with Stamp. At the moment, I'm using the Lopuff to be the non-water weak attacker of choice, but sometimes it's not ideal, so possibly Lugia could come back into this list in some capacity. It will probably make you have to play a Cherish Ball, though, which is a little bit awkward. From there was a few other cards I was thinking about. Choice Helmet's going to be one of them. Definitely important against Keldeos. Keldeo's a super scary card now that ADP sort of combines with it. They now hit 140, which goes to 280, which is super scary. And at the same time, there's Reshiram. Both of these things can hit 270 or 280, basically. So even if it's just a one-of a Choice Helmet, it could definitely benefit you a lot and keep you out of range for a turn. So definitely a card that I have been considering and think it's like a decent choice for sure. It's also like potentially reasonable in Mirror just because they can't prod you with Outrage and start pushing their way into range. So that's definitely a card that I've sort of had on my radar. A few other supporters you could consider. Lucamine's previously been in here, but I don't think it's mandatory anymore now that we have more infiniteness with the Cynthia and Caitlin, which is pretty reasonable. And from there, Great Catcher would probably be the only other, well, one of the only other cards that I would really think about intensely. Just giving yourself extra gusting opportunities, and it's such a solid card to not have in the deck right now. I've found myself discarding a lot just because you're discarding Mallow Lana, from Cynthia Caitlin, from Giant Hearth, from Fiery Flint, and I found it hard to weave in Great Catcher at times, which is really weird. Like, unless you're doing this exactly for game, I feel like it sits in the hand the whole time, whereas customs are just like playable the whole time. So that's my own personal opinion, but you could easily like squeeze one card in and it's going to be fine. Great Potions and Mixed Herbs. Like I said, I feel like the spaces get dedicated much more efficiently now to Mallow Lana, but if you want to add in a couple extra healing pieces, I wouldn't blame you too much. So yeah, that is going to be the build. This is slightly different to like the full-on hand control list that I profiled on the channel before the set came out on PTGO. So this is going to play much more similarly to like a regular GreenZard. It's just we have a few more options in the deck now, so we'll jump into the ladder and see how this archetype performs. I do, like I said, for both this and Guardian, I really am looking at these closely because I think the Tag Call engine is definitely something I want to be playing. I'm super sold on the idea of playing that sort of like mini package. Normally I'm just playing Cynthia Caitlin, Mallow Lana, but that's just enough a lot of the time to be astonishingly good. So yeah, we'll try and build around that, and the green decks just provide a solid base. So how bad could it be at the end of the day? Alright, we start off going second with a Volk. Happy days. We'll put down a ReshiZard. We don't currently have a green or a Welder, but we do have Tag Call to thin towards a Pokegear, which could be reasonable. And we also have a top deck, of course, so we'll see how that goes. We're facing down a Jirachi currently. We'll see what we're looking at right now. Elm. Is this going to be a Pidgeotto deck? Oh, yikes. Strap in for hand control. Oh, it's going to be a Clefairy loop deck. Interesting. Well, playing custom catchers definitely will help us a little bit. So something to bear in mind. If you are concerned about Doll Loop, you can definitely try and add in something like an Oranguru to this list, by the way. Oh, Tag Switch is another card that I forgot to mention that is certainly reasonable. When we have more variety of attackers now, Tag Switch is definitely worth looking at as a one-of. I'm actually super sad that I didn't have space to put it in, but I'm trying to find a slot for Tag Switch. I think it's actually pretty good, especially with Mallow Lana now. So yeah, this looks to be like a full-on Doll Loop deck. They're also playing the Munchlax, which can essentially give them an extra flip each turn to get more dolls. Even though it does end the turn, it gets something back on top of the deck. So they're going to Wish, then retreat Wish. There is the first sighting of a Clefairy doll. So, pressure is the name of the game here. I don't really see much else that we can do. We've prized the good Charizard that I would be preferring to spam attacks with, because we could like scout cards out of the deck and make life more difficult for them, but it looks like this is what we're working with. In that case, I'm going to thin a Lopuff just to get rid of it. Oh wait, this can do the snipe attack. Maybe this is our best GX attack in this matchup. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Alright, I guess I'll discard the other ReshiZard if we fail the gear. We get a Welder for 1, which doesn't sound great. So I will just use the Cynthia Caitlin here just to be a draw 3. I can just discard this Volk for now. We'll slap the energy on and just go for that Flare Starter. I'm still going to put 3 to this guy, even though we're probably just going to be high heat blasting for like the rest of the game. We'll see how we go. We'll go 2-2. That sounds better. 2-2 sounds better. So this Doll Loop list is trying to use Bella Braixen, man. So they basically took the Sawsbuck idea and they said, who needs to deal damage when I can just mill you instead? And it's a pretty reasonable proposition, to be honest. So they're going to Stellar Wish, drop a Doll, and just go for a Steven's Resolve. Steven's so solid at helping them get Stage 2s rolling. So we're going to stamp that. Not going to play any cards. Because the more we draw, the shorter our window to win the game, I guess. We play no shuffle draw effects in the entire list, so every card drawn just is a card less in deck permanently, so have to be a little bit scared by that. They're going to bike away a Bella. They of course play Lusamine Loop to recycle that. They can then go for a Stellar Wish. I do think this archetype has legs, by the way, the deck that we're up against right now. It does seem to be a scary archetype for sure. They're just going to retreat their doll, retreat into the doll, sorry. And they're probably just going to, oh yeah, drop another doll and go for Steven's Resolve again, I guess. Yes, indeed. Alright. So I can half and increase the odds of us actually finding a greens off the gear to try and stamp him. Alright. I feel like there's no better time to use the stamps, to be honest. Tackle sounds good to me because I want to start attaching to this Lopuff, so I have a snipe option. We could have gone for a custom there and maybe just customed up Jirachi. But I also like attaching to Lopuff. This also gets back a Cynthia Caitlin, which gets us back towards greens. It's a roundabout way of doing it, but it's still a way of doing it. And we'll just take no prizes this turn. Go for the High Heat Blast. So the deck they're playing really doesn't try and stop the opponent in any way. They don't care about what they're against. They're just trying to put a doll in the active every turn. That's basically what they go for. They bike away a bike, which can't be a good sign. It means they've definitely drawn into a good card. They do have a Pokecom. They're going to put Jirachi in. This sounds like they've got their first Florges online. Yes, indeed. They're going to Candy Florges. And that wondrous gift is going to be online now. They might want to Stellar Wish first, though. Yep, they're going to Stellar Wish. They're going to grab another Pokecom. That's a scary thought. If we stamp them into double Florges, I'm pretty upset. They're just going to Lucamine back some Stevens. Yep. Sounds good to me. They can retrain to a doll. They can flip for a doll. They get Tails, which is nice. Another doll hits the board. Alright. I hope you're prepared for a long game, by the way, team. And we're just going to do the primary effect so that we're not drawing cards that we don't want to draw. So next turn we can go Stamp Catcher, which sounds good. They'd Catcher up this to stop them having Stellar Wish. Still only one prize taken. And we only have so many gusting effects that we will eventually lose to the Wondrous Gift RNG. Probably. I mean, maybe. Maybe we win. You know, maybe. They've not got insanely well set up just yet. We've stamped the first couple Stevens. Here comes the doll. And Steven number 3. Alright. Let's stamp it. Let's grab a custom. Fortunately, all of our customs are in deck. I'm going to try and make them draw less cards. Like, we kind of need a few turns of brick, really, for us to win the game against them. 24 cards left in our deck. They're just going to Lucamine. Lucamine's a slow card. That's good. We need to get 5 energies onto our Lopuff to knock out this Florges, but we can do it at any point in the game. There's a Munchlax. So Munchlax is like their finishing flip every time, because it ends the turn no matter what the outcome of the coin flip. Oh, they actually play Sky Pillar. Crazy. So they have the answer to Puffy Smashes. Looks like that whiffed, so we're just gonna attach energy and High Heat Blast. We're out of stamps, so we can't deny this next Steven from them. So looks like they got through us basically. It's now down to us praying that Florges flips bad on certain turns and Munchlax. I think we'll be scooping it up pretty soon because they're going to be in the Braixen Man chain fairly shortly. Florges does get tails. They're actually going to go for the Braixen Man rather than the... Oh, they sniped a custom. Gross. They were able to snipe a custom from us. I was going to say, like, they should definitely have Stevens there, but sniping a custom's good. We'll just concede on it, I think. They really shouldn't do that. We know they had Steven in hand and they chose not to. How bizarre. Oh, Florges, you were just so busted. Oh, both their Lucamines are gone. Oh, maybe they play 3. I can't remember. Why isn't he using Stevens to give himself more flips every turn? There we go. He knew that the custom was in the top 3 cards. He just knew. Feels bad. Candy Florges Florges, or something to that effect. I'm just kind of bored, so I'm just gonna do this just to show him the power of a Puffy Smasher. And send the unable to retreat Pokédoll to sleep as well while we're at it. Jumping Balloon's base damage is enough to get through every doll, so why not? Alright, they're going to get some more Florges down. Yeah, I'm going to concede. I think I had to see the next Florges to actually concede there. I think if he only had 2 flips every turn, there's a conceivable chance for us to win the game. But I think with 3 flips every turn, it's pretty likely that he'll just belabor us out first. So we'll move on and hope to not see it again. That Doll Loop deck is definitely a threat in the format, though. I do think it's a real deal deck. I think Malamar's one of the decks that answers it best, but it's got a decent matchup spread. Otherwise, I feel like it loses to like some Ninetales decks. It loses to some Mally decks. I think it loses to Beheeyem, but like outside of that sort of stuff, it's doing pretty good. Maybe decks that play Manaphy as well could be a problem for it. Our opening hand is atrocious. We really need some help here. Looks like we're up against a Reshiram. We play more outs than GreenZard ever did previously, so sometimes you just get unlucky. Well, I can protect, I guess. Not that he's doing much right now, but we'll still put a plant down to see if it can stop some of his top decks. They draw into Acrobike. Choose to get rid of a Cherish. They find their Stellar Wish now, so they can get rolling. Probably. Ooh, they're playing an Enzo. Okay, so they're a turbo build. Exciting. They're going to Cherish for their next Reshiram. That's a rainbow one. They're going to play that Ends Resolve now. I think they hit a couple. Yep, a couple of fires. What else got pitched? There's Zeraoras. They just benched a Rayquaza under Power Plant, which is probably quite good for us. Oh, they're gonna... Okay. They're gonna shame concede, I guess. Rather than... Okay. Fine. Well, we'll take it, because our hand was trash, so... Alright. We will look for another opponent and see if we can get into this game a little bit better. It's a shame that against the Doll player we got the Flare Starter going second. And then it's against a Doll deck, so it doesn't matter. Alright, let's flip this coin. This time we get to go first. And we got to mulligan all of our best supporters back into the deck, which is a bit of a shame. Ooh, decent start for sure. We got greens, we got Welder, we got Tackle, we got Flint already. This seems strong. Well, let's see what we are up against. Malamar. Okay. Oh, we prized a good attacker against them. Yikes. That's a real shame. Okay, we'll grab this stuff. Then we can use our other tag call to take the Lopuff that I can thin from deck. And just discard it with the Flint. What else am I discarding? Am I just discarding the gear? Yeah, I guess we just discard gear as well. And then we'll just Flint up. Yeah, it's pretty spooky having to use this ReshiZard in this matchup, especially if they play the new Marshadow. Because they can do some shenanigans against you for sure. I'm going to Welder the back, attach active. Seems chill. Can start pressuring High Heat Blast. Take some tempo prizes away from them. Maybe knock out their Inkays if they only get 1 or 2 down. We'll see. We'll see. They're going to switch board bike. They may have chosen to put Jirachi down just to make a Lily stronger, or it was either that or it was off the mulligan. Looks like they're just going to Cynthia. They get themselves a Viridian. Gonna toss a Psychic for a Psychic, which is always a fair trade for a Squid player. They are going to go for another treasure here. Treasuring away that Psychic. They're going to get second Inkay down. Are they also going to get an attachment to boot? See, Stellar-Wish gets them a Com, so pretty likely that they can do something else with their turn here. Oh, they don't. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Well, let's bounce this stadium real quick. Let's attach energy real quick. I think keeping greens open is good, so I'll probably just Cynthia Caitlin here and get rid of the switch in my hand. If I just deal with an Inkay, the only attack he can use against us is like a Mimikyu attack. But he has a 4-card hand, so it's just dealing with Jirachi just better anyways. He has 2 Psychics in his discard pile. What does he need? He needs to have Mally, attach, Tina, switch card. And energy. Yeah, I said attach, right. I think Jirachi's a good thing to kill. And we're looking for that Charizard Braixen if we can. Just a Pokegear. Let's see how broken their 5-card hand is. Starts off with a Spell Tag and a Cynthia, so they need basically a perfect 5 cards. They need Mally, Tina, Energy, Switch. Let's see how much of it they got. Oh, they play Fishing Rod. Getting back Jirachi board, what a combo. They can then Pokecom to get back that Jirachi, I guess. Yeah, they're putting an SBDO in. Maybe they just want to start recharging to something on their board as well. That's also reasonable. They're just going to grab another Inkay. Okay. That seems fine. They're going to go for Hypnosis? Not even Hypnosis. Okay. Alright, we don't have to overplay here. We'll just keep the pressure on him. There he is. There's the man. Brilliant Flare. Busted Flare. Not that we've needed to move beyond this Volk, to be honest. Right, they're going to board and Lily up. Mally doing Mally things right now. They're going going to throw away an Inkay, which sounds really bad now that the fishing rod's already gone and 2 Inkays already in the bin. Well, 1 was already in the bin and now there's 2. Finally, we see a Giratina. They can attach and charge up to it. If they have Mally in hand and a switch card, they can actually attack here. But looks like they're just going for the old Stellar Wish Arunio. Okay. Alright, I'm going to toss the gear because we've stacked our hand up already pretty nicely. I'm just going to weld it to this man. And I think I just want to gust the Inkay. I don't want to take spell attack damage because it can set up so many things. So I think we just say that you got 1 Malamar all game, bud. Good luck to you. Next turn we can Crystal Welder. Brilliant Flare to knock out the Tina. Alright, they got another board. You can give her a Stellar Wish before Cynthia, which sounds weird, because they're probably always using Cynthia here, right? Wonder what they're looking for. Well, spell tag's always good. There's the Recycle Energy. I mean, I'm just going to see that Cynthia now. So we're 3 attacks away from winning the game, basically always. And he's yet to take a prize. The prize that he takes this turn affects, or like doesn't affect the game at all. Doesn't affect how many turns it's going to take him to win. So I think we already win. That's even before any Mallow Lana stuff's happened. And they have kind of bricked, let's be honest, but... There's the Blown. It is the Blown turn if he wants to go for a Fireworks Bomb. But, oh, he doesn't even... Oh, has he already recharged? I don't know. Do you not recharge to this guy? I can't remember. Alright, he's gonna damage himself, which seems fine. We're gonna bring up this man. We can Crystal Welder. Oh, I can actually, Hearth Welder. Hand's looking pretty stacked, not gonna lie. Let's go for a Brilliant Flare. Yes, I would like to search my deck, please. Honestly, I just want to take cards that I can bin with Mallow Lana, so I guess I just take like the spare Tag Call, or this spare Charizard that's doing nothing. The hand is super stacked. Yeah, they're just going to concede. Pretty obvious that they were dead on their feet there, just bricking the entire time. We didn't get to showcase how good Mallow Lana is against them, which is a shame, but... We might be in a mirror now. I saw Fire Colorless and nothing else, which is the same as us. Thinking. Big think. Mulligan. Starting to think I play too many switches in this deck. I think with Mallow Lana I could probably cut to 2 and add that tag switch in. Just thinking about it now. I'm so paranoid of having to like use a switch after a Mallow Lana. Maybe I need to chill. There's always a switch in hand whenever we need it. Alright, we're kicking off with the Lopuff. We got Green and Welder, which seems good. Our opponent with the benefit of a couple mulls. Oh no, they start the Flare Starter combo as well. Feels bad, man. We will We'll obviously take this Flint. What am I going to do here? What am I getting rid of with this Fiery Flint? Am I getting rid of Fire Crystal? I could get rid of Fire Crystal. Do I want Gust next turn? Probably, definitely. So I just get rid of Crystal Switch with the Flint, take a bunch of fires. Do I Welder this turn? Just so I'm pressurizing as quickly as possible. It's weird, man. I think I actually like Weldering first. It's a lot of good pressure. I'm not scared of him one-shotting us in any way. I can always just greens next turn. So we'll just see what we get off the Welder this turn, right? Just to inform the green a little bit better. Because if I draw into any like tag call or anything now, it just seems super good. Like we got the custom, which is great. I could do the customs now and try and deny the flare starter, but it sounds really dumb. So we'll just chill. We can do our jumping balloons next turn. They are unsurprisingly going to attach to the Volk. They've also got a gear and a greens. Looks like everything's going good for them. So a few flare starters. I could attach to Lopuff and then Green's Exploration for... Like, I could be threatening the customs into Puffy Smasher, which is pretty weird. I never thought I'd use Puffy Smasher in this matchup, but here we are. Oh, they are playing Choice Helmet. I don't think it's a bad shout at all. Like I said, it can be a decent card for Mirror just to stop some prod damage. They're going to get a ReshiZard and a Mallow Lana, so that kind of ruins the plan of us trying to tempo some damage on them. They're just going to hold all that in hand. They took Tag Call. What was the other thing they took off? Oh, the Choice Helmet. So the hand is stacked. So I should probably try and stamp his hand. The hand was definitely intimidating based on what he didn't take off the greens rather than like what he did take off the greens, if that makes sense. I don't want to put half down for free for him because there's a chance he just whiffs fire, right? So we're just jumping balloon. 120 with 1 GX in play is such good numbers as well. It so often comes up that 120 is just a good chunk. So the opponent puts down Weak Guard Energy, which kind of tells me they're playing Guzmahala, right? They're going to gear for Welder. They put another BraixeZard down. They might be complete handlock build. They're going to Flint away Power Plant and Faber. Probably playing Faber so they can get around Swell a little bit easier. If they are more heavily focused on breaks rather than ReshiZard, it makes sense that they need to play Faber. This can go for a brilliant flare for 180. Which is cool. I think I'm just going to try and power up the Zard more. Go for the jumping balloon on him. So I'm the one stamping him, basically. Rather than he's the one stamping me. Hopefully. Be a little careful because we did get rid of one crystal earlier. And we prized a few fires. Let's go for the old jumping balloon for 180 or 150 with the helmet. And see how they're going to react to that. They can't really do a Mallow Lana play because they don't have enough energy on their benched guy. So they'd have to do like a switch style thing. So they are just going to go for a green here. Let's see what shenanigans are afoot. They're going to grab Tag Call and Switch. They could easily be playing, whatchamacallit, Tag Switch as well. They're going to grab a ReshiZard and a Mallow Lana. Just chill. They are going to play Switch here. Which tells me they do play Tag Switch, yep. There's the ReshiZard. There's a fire. Oh, they're going to stamp us? Okay. So we really want to draw a stamp or a custom. Stamp or custom is a busted draw for us here. We'll be able to Hearth and Factory to thin. One of those cards would be insane. Because we basically need to Gust and kill the bench this turn. Sorry, Gust and Stamp this turn. Gust and kill the bench is the same thing. Because we can Flare Strike the back, Stamp his like insane hand of 9 cards. And then we'll be threatening Double Blaze for game. And he'll only have 3 cards to try and stamp us back. Oh, we nailed it! Busted. Okay, Pog. So how many fires have I prized? We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've only prized 1 fire. So we probably aren't using the Heat Factory. I might put it down, though, just for outs. No, it gives him outs. What am I talking about? Alright, we'll play this real quick. That seems decent. This is actually probably better, right? No, this is decent. This is decent. I don't have to discard that way. Alright, we stamp. And we greens. And we Flare Strike this guy. Then we're threatening game next turn. And hopefully we've disrupted his disruption options, if that makes sense. If he plays multiple tag switch, it's super scary. We could actually lose if he plays multiple tag switch. In theory, he could Welder to his own ReshiZard, turn attach and tag switch, and just win. It's a pretty big combo for 3 cards, though. He's going to bring up his Volk, which tells me he's trying to buy time. Tossing an Acrobike means his hand is pretty stacked, right? It means he's got Welder, yeah. Oh, he goes active with the Welder. That's pretty interesting. I would have thought he would have just put it to the bench to ReshiZard and try and put me on a clock. The 50 shouldn't be super relevant. I guess it puts me into... Oh, sorry, it's more than 50, right? It's putting me into BreakZard range. Ignore me. I'm being dumb. Alright. So we have definitely been put on a clock here. How many gusts has he used? He's used none. Yikes. Well, we didn't win the game immediately, which is a problem. We're gonna thin this card. And we're going to do some hiding out, and hoping he doesn't have greens for game. He has played 2 greens, so it's not hugely likely. He could also be playing Great Catchers, which is way scarier than Customs, of course. Ah, he got greens. Okay. Alright, we weren't quite able to close the game, unfortunately. Oh, he is playing Great Catchers, incidentally. So yeah, a nice back and forth of trying to stamp one another out of shenanigans. It's normally how it's going to go. Great Catcher, obviously good against stamps, right? Because you only need one of them. If we were playing Great Catcher instead of Customs there, we would have won, probably. So, yeah. Like I said earlier, definitely just like the one-of could be worth considering. Close series, though. Oh. Putting him to those 3 randoms definitely meant he could have lost. Like, but it'd be like that sometimes. He still had the Hearth to play with. Maybe I had to bounce my own Hearth there as well. Thinking face. Let's get on to one more game with the deck. It's not done insane so far. We've basically bullied a Malamar, and that's about it. We're going first. Volk is always a good start for us. You love to see it. We're lacking our basics right now. Staring down a Jirachi. We'll go for gear. You still always love to greens turn 1, especially with a hand like this. Well, more welders is never too bad. Okay, we'll do it. I'm going to hold the turn attachment in case I want to weld next turn. Okay. Let's see what we're up against. We see a Cherish Ball. This second Volcanion is bad if we're up against an ADP deck, by the way. But we could just get donked if I don't bench it, so I feel like we just had to put it down. He did give us the old hello when we put the second Volk down, which probably tells me He's going to try and punish it somehow. But here we are. Oh, they're playing Welders. Okay. Oh, it's Reshiram? They're weldering to their Cocoa Prism. That's a play. They're going to fire their Reshiram, and they're also going to Dead Change away at least a lot of Welders. Okay, good news. More Acrobikes. So they're also playing Ends Resolve, so it looks like they're probably going to be a turbo build, right, with no nags. I don't think the nag build has space for all these Acrobikes. Gonna see the board come down. Another Stellar Wish coming in. That's going to grab Great Catcher. Very spooky card to see. Great Catcher, certainly a scary card. We're going to go for the greens here. I think I'm going Tag Call Custom. So I can get a hit in on him first. 12, 18. Getting a hit on him seems important. So I think we tag call for 2 tag teams here. This is the one that comes down, so I can get an energy on it. I'm going to try and hit him for the 50 to set up the Flare Strike. Also, there's 3 lightning in his discard pile already. Maybe it's harder for him to find the pieces this way around. Does Shrine change anything here? No, we'll just hold it. We'll get this poke in, knowing full well we could just get Great Catcher, attach, and knocked out relatively easily. The good news here is that he's had to use a Rayquaza GX in order to do so, which is the 3rd GX Pokemon, as we all know. So we can low puff him now. So this little poke was definitely worthwhile. If we can find a stamp off the Welder, it would be insane. Never lucky. So we're more or less all in. There's no harm in putting down a higher hit point tag team. Let's go for that Jumping Balloon. 3 of his cards are random. He's already played a good number of Welders. And one Ends Resolve has already been used as well. So we'll see how this pans out. They're going to grab a Pokecom. They're going to get another Stellar Wish in. Looks like they're holding at least one Switch card. There's a big Ends Resolve. It could all be over. Basically, immediately after this Ends Resolve, right, he could get a Reshiram, Ends Resolve to it. If it gets enough targets, he could Coco Prism and then just free up that board space to attach anywhere and just instantly kill us. How many energies have gone? 7 doesn't sound like a lot if they're a turbo-based build. They probably have a lot more. They are going to mention Mewtwo. He can't Ends Resolve to that, that's the good news. He can Ends Resolve to his Rayquaza though, so he could do it this way around where he dances to the Ray, attaches a fire to the Mewtwo for turn, and then Ends Resolve to see if he wins. He needs 2 live targets off Ends Resolve to win, basically. It's like hitting 2 Max Elixirs. Oh, he doesn't go for it? But why? Oh, Greens isn't game. Oh, sorry, we didn't get Greens, which is game. So I need to Cynthia Caitlin. None of this stuff is that good. I'm going to just thin this stuff real quick. Well, we got a switch. Do I just retreat into the switch? Yeah, we just retreat into the switch. And I guess we're also trying to play around him stamping us. All right. Okay, will he be able to close the game? Now he just needs 1 to hit off Ends Resolve. And we're in trouble. And he needs a great catcher now. Pokegear fails. We see an energy on Dedenne. And just a pass. Alright, we got there. Well, they were definitely... I don't know why they didn't Ends Resolve. I'm pretty sure they could have won the game. I mean, they had to get a little lucky off the N, right? But... but they just chose not to play it. If they had played it the turn previously, even if they just hit 1 instead of 2 to win, they could have then like been still wishing for different supporters the following turn. Very strange. Well, that was GreenZard. I think in hindsight, maybe we could just play 2 switch. I've been super worried about the Mallow Lana switch combo. We actually didn't Mallow Lana like once the entire time. But had the Malamar drawn better, I'm sure we would have seen it in action to great effect. So maybe my perception's just warped based on those last few games. But Tag Switch seems like a good card. Great Catcher is a good card. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this list. What would you change? How would you work in those cards that we've been mentioning throughout the video? I'll hear it all down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video tomorrow. Cheers.